The first thing to be clear about when it comes to naval warfare is that at sea, just like on land, civilians and civilian objects cannot be targeted. Submarine cables, the underwater backbone of the global internet, pipelines, container ships and tankers shipping food, fertilizer or oil must not be targeted. What law applies when fighting breaks out at sea? Naval warfare is governed by international law applicable to armed conflict at sea. This framework consists of treaties and customary rules developed and evolving over time with the evolution of the maritime domain. It includes international humanitarian law, notably the Second Geneva Convention protecting the wounded, sick and shipwrecked at sea, alongside other bodies of law such as the law of the sea and maritime neutrality. Freedom of navigation. Freedom of navigation continues to be the rule during armed conflict. It means that fighting forces must respect the interests of neutral states and vessels, that is, third states that are not party to the conflict. This includes rights of passage through international straits and archipelagic sea lanes provided under general international law. Rights of neutral states. The law of maritime neutrality limits interference with neutral states and their vessels if they maintain their neutral status. Neutral territory is inviolable, and hostile actions in neutral waters or airspace are generally prohibited. Warring parties must also take care not to interfere with the rights of neutral states when operating in their exclusive economic zones. Naval blockades. Naval blockades are military operations to stop all vessels entering or leaving an enemy port or coast. They are limited by strict rules. They must be publicly declared, effectively enforced, and applied equally to all vessels. They cannot block access to neutral ports or coasts, starve civilians, or prevent delivery of humanitarian relief. Harm to civilians caused by the blockade must not be excessive to the anticipated military advantage. In other words, the principle of proportionality must always be applied. Are there limits to the means and methods of naval warfare? Yes. As in all warfare, the right to choose the means and methods of warfare is not unlimited. Weapons such as missiles, torpedoes, projectiles, and naval mines must be used in accordance with the principles of distinction, proportionality, and precaution. Ships, submarines, aircraft are bound by the same rules, and so is the use of weapons relying on emerging technologies such as uncrewed and autonomous maritime systems. Merchant and other civilian vessels. Merchant and other civilian vessels must not be attacked unless they become military objective, such as by carrying troops, directly supporting military operations, or engaging in fighting. Even then, the rules of proportionality and precaution apply to minimize harm to crews, passengers, and nearby vessels or offshore infrastructure. Importantly, this includes damage to the marine environment. The wounded, sick, and shipwrecked. The law recognizes that the ocean itself can be as deadly as the enemy. Therefore, all vessels and nearby states have an obligation to come to the rescue of shipwrecked people. And ships performing rescue and medical care must not be attacked or unnecessarily prevented from reaching those in need and performing their life-saving functions. The dignity of those who die at sea must be respected, by which the law means that their bodies must be collected, evacuated, identified, and families notified of their fate. Persons captured at sea. Persons captured at sea are particularly vulnerable and must only be held on ships temporarily with prompt transfer ashore, humane conditions, and proper registration. Merchant mariners not involved in hostilities should be released as soon as possible.
International Committee of the Red Cross.